Don't talk about lunch, making everybody hungry. All right, we need to get ourselves organized here. All right, here we go. So we are now. Sorry, turn that on. All right, so here we go, guys. How do we find decimal degrees?
Calculator.
Yep, so we type in 136, second angle degree mark, and then here, London, you need one of these. And then 12, second angle minute mark, and then 19, and where do we get the second mark, do you remember?
Alpha.
Alpha plus, very good. All right, so everybody's got a calculator out, everybody type that in. Did you get 136.205?
Yep.
Okay, so everybody knows how to do that. So if that question is on your quiz, you got it. All right, we're gonna go with calculator ones first. I'm not sure why number 3 is a calculator problem. It doesn't need to be. Find the navigational angle for west northwest.
Give it number 2.
I'm doing all the calculator ones.
Listen, Dana.
I'm doing the calculator ones, okay? So, did I do west northwest yesterday?
Yeah.
Let's pick a different one. Let's do, what do you want to do?
South, northwest, east.
What?
South, north, south. Or no, south, north.
You can't put south.
South,
north,
south,
Southwest. Southwest.
South, southwest. All
Florida.
right, we'll do south, southwest. Okay, so I'm changing the problem because we already did that one, so we're changing it. So we're doing south, southwest. So start with the fundamentals and then draw in southwest. Would everybody agree that here is southwest? Then the south side of southwest would be here. So this is the angle that I'm trying to figure out. So I know it's 180 plus something. What's that little bit right there? How much is that?
22.5.
Half of 45, which is 22.5. So 202.5, how does that sound? 202.5? Is that right? Find degrees, minutes, seconds for 78.136. So we type in 78.136. And then back to our second angle menu. And click down to DMS.
Is the first letter always going to be the first 2?
Yep. 78 whole degrees, 8 minutes, and 9.6 seconds. Everybody good? How do we find degrees, minutes, seconds? We press DMS, degrees, minutes, seconds. All right, number 6. Find the radius of a circle. So here's our circle. We're going to find the radius of the circle in which a central angle of 1.4 creates an arc of 38.6 inches. Okay, so my picture's off a little bit, but that's okay.
So 38.6 equals.
So Elijah says correctly, 38.6 equals 1.4 times R. Because, guys, arc length equals radius times radians. And how do I know that is a radian angle? Because there's no degree mark. there's no degree mark, that's a radian. So 1.4 R gives me 38.6.
47.5.
So dividing on my calculator, R is 27.571 inches. All right, everyone? All right, now, calculator, cosecant 10 degrees. Cosecant is reciprocal of sine. So remember, if you don't have the button, you have to do 1 over something. So this is going to be 1 over sine 10. So 1 divided by sine 10. Did you get 5.759? There really isn't room for any partial credit on these problems, so you kind of want to just make sure you're typing things in correctly. What about tan 1.87?
0.033.
Now, I want you to be really, really careful, guys. There's no degree mark on that, which means that is a radian measure. So before you type it in, you're going to go back to mode, and you're going to change it into radians. Are you listening to me?
Yeah.
All right. So then you can type in tangent 1.87 negative 3.242 negative 3.242. If you're not getting that, make sure you have changed your calculator into radian mode. Now, one more time. How do I know this is a radian mode? There's no degree mark, right? Our beady little eyes are open. All right, number 8.
Plus, the sign is opposite.
All right, so here's my picture.
It's cup. It's cup.
Yes. It's cut.
And I have to solve this. Okay? So the first thing you're going to want to do, I think, is figure out which function, and you're always going to use sine, cosine, or tangent, because those are the buttons you have. And you got to figure out which one of those you're going to use to solve this triangle. So, there's your angle, right there. Which side is this? Hypotenuse. Which side is this? Adjacent. So you don't have a choice. You've got adjacent and hypotenuse, so you will use cosine. So cosine 17 equals adjacent over hypotenuse. Remember, when you write your equation, whatever you're using, in this case cosine, it goes with the angle, cosine 17. And then adjacent over hypotenuse. So we'll multiply by 28. And before you type this in on your calculator, you see that right there? What is that? A degree mark. So your calculator has to be set in degrees. Yep, are we gonna screw that up? I hope not, but it's easy to do. Alright, so 28 cosine 17 equals nearest 1,000, 26.777. Huh? Nothing. I graduated in 1977, so anytime I see it, I just think I'm just nostalgic.
777.
All right, now there's one more calculator problem. One more, it's number 13.
Pi.
So we got the bird in the top of the tree, so here's our tree, here's our bird. The tree is 13.5 feet. And the bird sees a worm. How far will the bird have to fly to capture the worm if its angle of depression is 59.10? Where do we put 59.10? Always, always, always right where I'm pointing. Talked about this the other day. Doesn't matter if it's elevation or depression, it's gonna go right there every time. How far will the bird have to fly? Where do I put my X? Down here or up here? On the hypotenuse. Because there's the bird, he's gonna fly to get the worm. Right? Now we're right back to where we were a minute ago. Look at your situation. Which function are you gonna use? Sine, cosine, or tangent? Sine. Now, I need everybody in the room to understand why we're using sine. This is my angle. Which side is this? Opposite. This is obviously hypotenuse. So, katoa. Opposite and hypotenuse is sine. So sine of the angle is 13.5 over x. Multiply by x, clear your denominator. And then divide by sine 59.10. This is what you're gonna type in your
Can you find, like, you put 59 degrees, kind of find that number? And
You don't need to. We don't want to do any round off. So we're just gonna, no, you're gonna have to put it in anyway. Might as well put it in here. So 13.5 divided by sine 59 second angle degrees, 10 second angle minutes. 15.7222.
Inches.
And that
Feet.
would be feet. All right, we good on that? All right, let's put the calculator aside. And then let's go back and do all the ones that aren't calculated. Okay. Now, for even the ones that aren't calculator, you will have a baby available to you if there's any kind of arithmetic that bothers you. So, number 2. 4 radians are how many degrees?
Pi over 180.
Pi over 180 equals 4 over x. Beautiful. And how did we know it was going to be 4 over x? Because it's 4 radians. Pi radians, 180 degrees. 4 radians, how many degrees? Radians, radians. So pi x equals 720, and x equals 720 over pi. We don't have a calculator, so that's our answer, right there. Everybody okay with that?
Yeah.
Now, as it turns out, isn't number 5 the same thing?
Did you got degrees are 180.
So pi over 180 again
Yeah.
equals x over 315 this time, because that's 180 degrees, and this is 180, or excuse me, that's 315 degrees. So 180x equals 315 pi 315 pi over 180. Now, a lot of times we can cancel out zeros and stuff. We can't do that this time. But clearly, both of these are divisible by what? 5, right? So you'll have a baby calculator if you need it. But 315 divided by 5 is 63. And 180 divided by 5 is 36. Oh my, I think it goes down even more.
Yeah.
Both of those are divisible by 9. So 7 pi over 4 is ultimately your answer. Ronan, raise your hand up.
So radians will always be in the numerator? Are
If you
these-
set up pi over 180, yeah, because that's pi radians. All right, so now we're on the back. Sine theta equals root 3 over 2. And you need to find theta in degrees. But no calculator now, okay? We're doing this without a calculator. So let's draw a picture. And I need theta, and that's what I don't know. That's my angle, theta's my angle. And I know the sine is root 3 over 2, which means opposite over hypotenuse is root 3 over 2. So opposite over hypotenuse, does that make
That may
sense
be
to you?
on 1.
So the other side's gonna be 1,
It was 60.
because this is a special triangle, right? What is the angle that's across from the root 3?
60.
60. So the answer to the question is 60 degrees.
How do you do that? How do you put that in radians? Is it like?
We're gonna do the next one. We do probably before, right here. The next one is in radians. The next one is the same problem, but now we're gonna answer in radians. All right, so here we go. What's it say? Cotangent equals 1. So let's draw our picture. Now, I'm gonna think of that as 1 over 1. Because all of my trig functions are fractions. So I like to have 2 numbers there, like opposite and hypotenuse or whatever. What do I know about cotangent?
It's the opposite of tangent.
It's the reciprocal of the tangent, TOA. So tangent is opposite over adjacent. So cotangent is gonna be adjacent over opposite. Not that it matters since they're both 1, but that's what it is. It's adjacent over opposite. So my hypotenuse is root 2, and how big is my angle? 45 degrees. So theta is 45 degrees. Now that would be wonderful, except it says I gotta answer in radians. So I can always do what I did a minute ago. Pi over 180 equals x over 45. I can always do that. Some of us have done our homework, we've studied, we've reviewed, and we know that pi is 180, right? So half a pi would be 90. Half of that would be 45. Because 45 is 180 divided by 4.
That's right.
So kids, you don't have to show an ounce of work. If you know 45 is pi over 4, that's great. I'm glad you know that. If you don't know that, then you can always figure it out setting up your proportion. What's 60? 60 is pi over 3. 180 divided by 3. All right, what's next? Number 11. Find the exact tangent of pi over 3.
Oh, 60 degrees.
Okay, so somebody has said that 60 degrees, 180 divided by 3. So I'm going to draw the exact same kind of picture, only this time I know that's 60. And as soon as I know that's 60, then I automatically know this side is what? Root 3. Well, that angle is 30, but the side is root 3. This is 2 and this is 1.
Yeah.
And I want TOA, which is opposite over adjacent. So the answer is root 3 over 1, which is just root 3. So what's the tangent of 60? Root 3.
45.
All right, now I want the secant of pi over 4.
45.
Pi over 4 is 45. We just had that one a minute ago. 180 divided by 4 is 45. So I'm going to draw my same triangle, but this time it's 45. Which means the sides are 1, 1, root 2. Right? All right, now secant. Okay, wait a second. Secant is the reciprocal of the cosine. Cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse. So secant will be hypotenuse over adjacent. This is hypotenuse. This is adjacent. Root 2 over 1 or root 2.
Oh, so root 2 is just.
Everybody agree with that? Okay, that is easy, but there's so much to kind of keep track of as you do it. All right, and finally number 12, last one. So what's going on here? I have my same picture. And I know that the tangent is 1/5. That automatically means the cotangent is 5. Because what's the relationship between the tangent and the cotangent? Reciprocal. Right? All right, now, where do I go from here?
Pythagorean theorem.
Okay, well, first of all, I'm gonna label my triangle.
Yeah.
Tangent is TOA, opposite over adjacent. So the opposite side is 1 and the adjacent side is 5. Is that okay with everyone?
Yeah.
Then I will do my Pythagorean theorem. So 1 squared plus 5 squared equals x squared. So 1 plus 25 is x squared. 26. Did you get the square root of 26?
Yeah.
That's your hypotenuse. And now, since we have opposite, adjacent, and hypotenuse, we can fill in all the blanks. So what's the sign?
Root 26.
Root 26 over
26.
It starts out as 1 over root 26. And the cosine starts out as 5 over root 26. But those both rationalize as you indicated. And some of you are really getting the hang of this. You can go straight to this. You don't need that intermediate step. But I like to write that down because that's what I'm going to flip. So this is going to be root 26 over 1. And this is going to be root 26 over 5. Now, there are a lot of problems on this review. The questions on the quiz will be like these, okay? May not be every single one of them, but,
How many questions do you
83. This is what you need to know, Jake. Make sure you know how to do your problems and you'll be all set. Okay? All right, put that away. Since we don't take this quiz till Tuesday, you might want to get it out and look at it in the next few days. Maybe turn on the video and look through it again. Okay? Up to you. Let's get our notes out though.
Yeah, the codes. So like codes. And T.
Yep, we're back in our notes now. Why do we sigh heavily?
That was Doris.
That was
Yours even
Joe.
worse.
That was Joe.
Doris was yawn sounded tired as
That
well.
was Joe.
Alex Doris.
Don't, Joe, don't even.
Again?
No, it's Doris.
Joe, that was Joe.
Doris always said, "Oh, I'm so tired of this class." Yeah. I heard him.
Okay, so here's our picture, and we're gonna find
Dana.
all the things.
Bro.
All right, so here we go. We're gonna find everything for the first B up there. All right, who remembers we did this yesterday, or a couple days ago? Who remembers what we do, Jay?
They're using Pythagorean theorem with the point.
We are. But before we do the Pythagorean theorem, we
You
have
gotta
to
make the
triangle.
triangle going up.
So we're gonna start right here at this point, we're gonna go straight up. Because remember, our triangle will always look like that, or that, or that, or that. Every triangle will look like one of those. Now, Jake said I'm gonna use the Pythagorean theorem because this right here has to be 3. There's the origin. If that's the point, 3, -2, didn't I go right 3 and down 2? So now I'm gonna do the Pythagorean theorem. So 3 squared plus 2 squared equals x squared. Now, before you freak out and say, it's -2, remember I'm squaring it. So what happens when I square a negative? It becomes positive, right? So if you want to make that -2, I don't care, it doesn't matter, it won't change a thing. So I have 9 plus 4,
Square root 13.
so this guy's gonna be the square root of 13, that's exactly right. Your angle is always at the origin. So that right there is always gonna be your angle. Your angle is gonna be here, or here, or here, or here. That's where your angle is always gonna be. So this side is opposite adjacent, and hypotenuse. So now we can fill everything in. And the only thing different than the problems like this we did before, and on your quiz, the only thing different is now we're gonna have some negatives. We have negatives because we're down here in quadrant 4. All right, so what's my sign? My sign is?
3 over root 13.
My
No, negative 2.
Negative 2 over root 13.
Which is negative 2 root 13.
And my cosine is positive 3 over root 13. And my tangent is negative 2/3. Are we okay with that, folks? Then I can do the reciprocals. So root 13 over negative 2, root 13 over 3, and negative 3. Ooh, got it? Now, part B, believe it or not, is exactly the same except the picture isn't drawn. We have an angle in standard position, and its terminal side contains the point 2, negative 2. Now, 2, negative 2 is down here, right? Here's 2, negative 2. So there's your angle. That's all. It just gives you the point. Here, I gave you the point, but I drew it for you. Part B is exactly the same situation, except you have to draw your own picture. So what are we gonna do now that we've drawn our picture?
Go to make the.
We're gonna make a triangle. So we're gonna go straight up,
You make the adjacent to
2, and that's adjacent, you're right, because here's my angle.
the opposite.
Negative 2 is opposite. And then I'll do my Pythagorean theorem.
So if they're the same, does that mean
The angle would be 49, 45, 90, yep. But I'm not finding the angle, I'm finding all the things, but yes, it is. So what's my hypotenuse? 2 squared plus negative 2 squared is x squared.
Which is root
Did
2
you
2.
get the square root of 8? I know, I skipped a few steps in there. Get root 8? Let's go ahead and rationalize that. The square, reduce that. The square root of 8 is
2 root 2.
2 root 2, because 8 is 4 times 2. The square root of 4 is 2. So this is 2 root 2.
Wait, but you count off the wheel rational.
Yeah, because you're not gonna be able to simplify. You won't be simplified then. So you gotta simplify. Now, I'm not gonna count off a ton, but I'm gonna count off it. That's my job.
right?
I get bored.
I always do my job. Try to do my job. Alright, so now I'm gonna fill in everything. So here we go. What's the sign?
Negative 4 root 2 over 2.
Okay, so the sign's gonna be, watch this, negative 2 over 2 root 2. Now, guys, these are gonna cancel. So we're gonna have negative 1 over root 2,
It's really 2, negative 2.
which is negative root 2 over 2. Alright, now let's just make sure no one got lost in that.
You're out.
Here is my picture. Would you agree the sign is negative 2 over 2 root 2? Those 2's cancel. So that makes that a 1 and that a 1. So I have negative 1 over 1 root 2. And then I rationalize that and get negative root 2 over 2. Alright, what about the cosine?
2, root 2 over 2.
It is going to be exactly the same thing, only positive.
Yeah.
And what about the tangent?
Negative 1.
Now, when you flip, I would suggest you flip at this point. Honestly, it will make no difference when you flip. You're going to get the right answer, but flipping here will be less work. Because if I flip this, I'm just going to get negative root 2 for my cosecant. If I flip this, I'm just going to get root 2 for my secant. And then the cotangent is also going to be negative 1. All right, we're going to do one more. And then you get to escape. All right, here we go. Let's see if you can draw the angle for problem B. The angle for problem B, would you agree is going to be over here? Actually, I didn't draw that very well. It doesn't really matter. Just get it in the right quadrant. So this is going to be negative 1, and this is going to be 4. Make sure that makes sense to you. Is that okay with everybody? Left 1 and up 4.
17.
Here's my triangle, left 1 up 4. Here's my angle. I need to do the Pythagorean theorem. I hear a root 17 from the peanut gallery. What do the rest of you think?
Hey, excellent.
Yeah.
I agree with it.
I agree with Jason.
You're my favorite peanut gallery, how about that? So root 17. A squared plus B squared, 1 squared plus 4 squared. All right, now we just gotta fill them all in. So what's the sign gonna be?
4 root 17 over 17.
So yes, I'm gonna go one step at a time, but you don't need to. 4 over root 17.
Yep.
Notice it's positive because that number's positive, right? So 4 over root 17, which is 4 root 17 over 17. What's the cosine? Negative root 17 over 17. What's the tangent?
It'll be 4.
It'll be 4 over negative 1, which is just negative 4. And then,
Root 17.
yep, root 17 over 4.
Negative root 17.
Negative root 17 over 1, or just negative root 17.
Negative 1/4.
And negative 1/4. All right, how do you feel about that, okay?
Today? No, Tuesday.
Yeah, 14 is Tuesday. Yeah, I didn't sign the first. Speaking of which, I probably
I've been playing on it.
Oh. 4-2? 4-1 was due yesterday.
4-1's already been read.
Due yesterday. 4-2 is due. 4-2 is not due. 4-2 is not due today, is it? Last week. I've been playing. Oh, we have to write that? No idea.
Wait, 4-2?
Whoa.
And today's our quiz. So,
What did I?
we are getting ready.
Another day.
Wait,
Wait, sit down.
Hey, Brian, one time.
Lord, thank you for the food before us, the Irish family and friends beside us, and the love. In Jesus' name we pray, bless us, O Lord, and these thy gifts which we are about to receive from the God of Jesus Christ, our Lord. Amen.
All right, and all.
Hey, Dan, let's say.
Quiz on Wednesday, or Tuesday, quiz on Tuesday.
Also, quick reminder, there is mass in the chapel with Father Domi at 11:50 if you would like to join us. Again, there's mass in the chapel with Father Domi if you would like to join us. Thank you.
So Jillian, how you feel about this stuff, okay? I'm feeling good. I love